Well, hello out there, and welcome once again to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. As a matter of fact, this is our 20th episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. It's amazing. I'm Tom. I'm also here with my lovely, gorgeous wife, Michelle.
Hello. You're so sweet, baby.
We're so lucky to be with you again today. We are recording this on Sunday, October 14th. 2018. Again, this is our 20th episode. I didn't really think we'd maybe get past 4 episodes, something like that.
Exactly.
20 episodes is amazing. So, so cool that you've joined us, and we're gaining listeners every week, and we really appreciate that. However you found us today, in the future, you can find us on 1057max.com under the Max Plus tab, as well as on the Max FM app. You can also find us on SoundCloud. We're on Stitcher. You can subscribe to us, and we'll come right to your phone or device. Whenever we have a new episode, you'll know it. It'll come right to your phone, right to your tablet, whatever you may have, whatever you listen to us on. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play Music. And new this week, we have another way you can find us. We are now on Spotify.
Wow, the big times now.
Big time. We are on, if you listen to a lot of music on Spotify, well, you can also find our podcast right there on Spotify. Just one more way you can find us. We're so happy to be with Spotify. That's kind of cool.
It is cool, and it is really exciting that it is our 20th show, and we really love hearing from everybody, and it's also amazing and fun to see that we have listeners all over the world.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind.
I'm going to get to that in just a second here. Going back, if you get a chance and can give us a quick rating or review, really helps people that love Disney just like you find our podcast. So, do that. Tell your friends. It really will help us in so many ways. Now, back to that funny story about us being global. We've already been global. I've seen places like we've had Brazil downloads. We've had from the United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, Russia. Lots of places have downloaded us in the past. But this week was a really interesting week for us.
Yes.
Really, really funny week. I usually, we almost always record these podcasts on Sundays. And so we record them. I upload them. Usually it's up around 2:30-ish, something like that in the afternoon. And then before I hit the hay that night, I'll just kind of take a look and see, because I can look and see how many people have downloaded us. And it always makes me happy to see that so many people have downloaded us right away. We have a nice number. It was about the average number. I went to bed, woke up early the next morning, and looked at the number in the morning, because I like to do that too. It had jumped by more than 10 times what we normally get in that period. Really weird. I was like, what the heck happened here? What? So as it turns out, what happened is that, if you remember last week's episode, if you did happen to listen to it, if not, you should go back and listen to it. It's one of my favorite episodes, as a matter of fact. Go back, and we talked about this K-pop band, a Korean pop band called NCT 127. Is that correct? I still don't know if it's 127 or 127.
Right. I'm not sure either, but I did research them a little bit more. They are really interesting, and I have to say, I love watching them on YouTube too.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
They're fun.
They are.
They are fun.
Anyways, I digress from your conversation. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So anyway, I guess somebody that kind of helps market them within the States, or actually around the world, kind of picked up on our tweets telling people that our new episode was out, and obviously it was tagged with Mickey90, which was the hashtag for the show, and all these people knew that they had appeared on that show. So it went out, it got tweeted and retweeted like 100+ times. It got liked 100+ times. And our podcast got listened to so many times, but mostly to that 2-minute segment where we talked about this band. But we told you last week and how crazy the crowd went when this band came on.
Right.
So it was just kind of funny. We have this, it's so funny because our numbers are, sometimes they're a little bit better, sometimes they're not quite as good, but they're usually right around the same amount for a week. This week spiked. It was just a huge download week. And if we kept any of those people out there, if you've joined us and are listening to us again, thank you so much. We're happy to have you with us.
Absolutely. And it's like you said, it was really fun seeing that spike up. And it goes to show what we were trying to describe at our last podcast is just how much love is out there for this group and the K-pop group. So we love it. We love them. And thanks again for checking us out, and I hope you join us and continue to join us.
Yeah, we love them even more now after
Absolutely.
that number. That is crazy. That was really good. That was really fun.
Awesome.
It was a fun like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday about that, and then it kind of mellowed out a little bit, but it was a fun couple days for sure. I talked about our social media. We want to be an interactive show, so if you ever want to contact us or if you want to follow us along on any of our tweets, any of our postings on Facebook or whatever, here's where you can find us. On Twitter, we're on @Hyperion Podcast. Facebook and Instagram, we're at @Hyperion Adventures Podcast. You can email us if you ever want to contact us, send us a note, say hi, give your own tip. If you have something if you want something for us to share in the show, feel free to email us at HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com, and as well as the 1057max.com website. We are also have our own website, which is HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. It's such a long name that sometimes I just mix it up.
No, that's great. And you said you want this to be an interactive. It is an interactive. We've been getting some great things all along. And even like we're saying, it's our 20th show, but we've already had some great feedback. We've had some questions from people. We've had people on the show, people interviewed on the show. Mm-hmm. So we really want to continue all that interaction with everybody, and we love it. So we do really want to encourage people, if you haven't already reached out to us, please get in touch with us because we love it.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, we will be having some of the comments from some listeners today on our show that we'll be going over as to our main topic. Before we get to our main topic, I just want to tell you we have lots of stuff coming up for you today. We have our quick thoughts on Star Wars Resistance that we debuted last week. The second episode is tonight. We have a bunch of park news. There was a ton of park news this week, both from the Disneyland Resort and the Walt Disney World Resort. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But before that, we have to get to our main topic. Every week we have one main topic or maybe two, but usually a one big topic. And this week's main topic, we're continuing our 5 favorite things series. And this time, our 5 favorite things is going to be our 5 favorite things on a Disney cruise.
That's right. And it's pretty appropriate. I don't think I said that right.
Apropos?
Apropos, yeah.
Appropriate, apropos?
Right. Something like that. But anyways, that the Disney Wonder is in port here in San Diego with us. And so that was kind of fun seeing that happen today as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We were trying to scour the web for some webcams down at the San Diego Harbor, the San Diego Bay, to try and see the Wonder down there because we always love it when she's in town. And every once in a while, we'll actually just drive down there just to take a look at her because she's such a beautiful, beautiful ship.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't, we've done the 5 favorite things before, and if you don't know how we approach this, what we do is Michelle and I make 2 separate lists, each of our 5 favorite things for whatever subject we're covering. And today it's Disney Cruise. We have not talked about it. I tend to think that we'll be kind of on the same wavelength on this, but not always. That these are some things we rank higher than others to each other. But it'll be interesting as we go along to count down our top 5 favorite things and see where we go. And if you have favorite things about Disney Cruises and want to send it to us, we can always talk about it next week on the show as well. But let's quickly get to our 5 favorite things on a Disney cruise. We're going to go back and forth, and we'll start with number 5, and Michelle is going to start with her number 5, her 5th favorite thing aboard a Disney cruise.
Well, thank you, honey. Okay, my number 5 is pin trading.
Ooh.
So it's all over the ship, and it's in various stores, and obviously among the different people on board the ship too. But what's really neat about it is because it is at the different shops, you can go throughout the day multiple times and you're going to see a variety of other pins because other people are doing that throughout the day as well. And then they also have one main pin trading event. It's called the Officers Pin Trading Party. And holy moly, people do come out for that. And it's amazing to see that. But you can really score some really great, unique pins there that you may have really been wanting or complete a set. Mm-hmm. I know that on one of our cruises, I started and completed a set on that one cruise. So that was really fun to do. So pin trading would be my number 5. What about you?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to talk about your pin trading thing. First of all, the officers pin trading is pretty cool because the officers will have, they'll have some basic pins out there, some of the ones you'll see a lot. But every once in a while, one of them will have a really nice pin. Some of the ones that, you actually pay a lot of money for, and they put them on there on purpose to draw people there. It used to be, we used to go to the officers pin trading, and it wasn't a big deal. There were a few people there trading pins or whatever, but now it's crazy. crazy. I mean, it really is.
Right.
There's a lot more interest in pin trading out there. I usually act as Michelle is the one who does the pin trader in our family. I don't really do it that much. I have pins, but I don't trade that much. She is big into pin trading, so I usually scout out for her. I'm like, honey, over here, you got to get this one over here. It's what my job usually
and
is.
you do it really well, and I appreciate that.
But what's great about it is that because it is similar to what you do at the parks, but because it's such a compact area on the ship, you only have a few shops to go to. It's much easier to find what you're looking for and make the few stops throughout the day when you want to check.
Right, exactly. And they're always different.
They also, a lot of times in one of the main shops there, will have a book of all the pins. So if you're guys kind of looking for, combinations of pin, all the pins that have been released throughout the years, the hidden Mickey pins that, really come from a lot of the cast members, you can find in that book. And really, if you're searching for something, you can kind of look how to fill out that group, what other ones you need to find if you're trying to complete the collection.
That's true. That's a good point. And that's how on that one cruise that I did do a complete set, I wasn't sure what consisted of the complete set. So that was a helpful book to have and be able to know then, I'm looking for the Mickey ears with Piglet on it.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, really good. Like I said, it was not on my list because I'm not the pin trader you are, but I know you love it. Every time we go on a Disney cruise, man, she is in those shops checking those pins all the time. It's like, what are we going to do now? Well, first we need to stop by and check the pins, and then we're going to the pool.
That's right.
First we got to stop by and check the pins, and then we're going to trivia. It's kind of that kind of thing. My number 5 favorite thing on a Disney cruise is the nights of your dining rotation that are in Animator's Palette. That is, to me, the best of the dining rooms you go to for families, just for entertainment involved. It's dinner and a show, always wrapped up into one thing. It's always a fun experience. It's almost always interactive. It really gets the kids involved. If you're a big family with children and everything, they can enjoy it too. It's always very colorful and interesting to see how the room changes. I'm not going to give away any spoilers to it because if you haven't been in there, those of you who've been there, you know what happens in there. But if you haven't been in there, it really is truly an experience. It's really, really fun. It's one of my favorite dining room, and it's probably going to be your kid's favorite dining room. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, as you mentioned early on, we were probably going to have some overlap. So I actually did rate that one a little higher. But interestingly, on that one, which is I had at number 3, I also have a tie with that. So I can save that one for my tie on number 3.
3 and 3A and 3B.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. But you're right. The special entertainment Animator's Palette, especially if you're on a cruise that is 7-day or longer, then you'll have that second special Animator's Palette show. And you're right. We don't want to give anything away. It's a fun experience to have and be, in the surprised moment. But we do want to say, have your phone set to video as the meal is coming to an end.
And be there early. Don't be the person that gets into the dining room 20 minutes late. I mean, sometimes that's fine. Usually it kind of holds people up. It's not a great idea to be there late, but try not to even be 5 minutes. Try and be there as early as possible because I'm not going to give it away, but you want to be there early. I'm just going to say that.
That's right. And the serving crew is really working hard to make some things happen very quickly there. And so it's easier if they can keep everything moving along.
Yeah, and especially if you're sharing a table with other people that you just don't want to hold them up either. So just a good idea to be there as close to on time. I know it's tough to get your family up and rustled up a lot of times, especially when you're at like the early seating. That can be a little tough, but for the Animator's Palette night, you really want to try if you can because there's a lot of special things that comes along with it. That's our 5th favorite things about Disney Cruise Line. Michelle, what's your number 4 favorite thing about Disney Cruise?
Okay, my number 4 is kind of very broad. It's entertainment variety. So whether you're talking about movies or the shows or cooking demos, they're all great. And there's just so much about a Disney cruise that they have to offer. And I want to say that even sometimes the motion of the ship can make some of these things
even you talking about this.
enhancing the experience. And so like, for example, one time watching Star Wars Force Awakens, and it wasn't bad seas or anything like that. It was pretty mild to moderate.
I think it was actually relatively high seas, if I remember. Because I didn't go because I tend to be a little prone to seasickness.
That's true.
I'm usually fine. I take medication for it. I'm usually fine. It's not a big deal, but I don't like to do anything that's going to exacerbate it. So I
Sure.
let her go to this movie in 3D with about, I don't know, it was 15-foot seas or something like that, while
Yeah,
I just
that's what I said,
relaxed and
mild
read.
to
or
moderate.
whatever. Yeah, mild to moderate, yes.
But yeah, it really made it really a little bit more exciting. Not scary or anything like that. Just sometimes the movement synchronized with what was going on the screen, so that made it exciting. But just the fact that they have so much entertainment there. And, for example, on the larger ships, they have the detective games. And so that's really, so much fun, no matter what age you are there, and I know that kind of sounds cliche, but there is a lot of things for everybody. And even, just being a kid and doing some of those kid things is enormously fun on it.
We've caught you doing the detective game a couple times on this show. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
The technology is amazing,
It's
and
for
it is
everybody.
a lot of fun.
It's for the kids and the kids at heart to
Right.
play those things, and it's really entertaining. Really
Exactly.
entertaining. Some of that stuff is one of my higher ranks, but I'll get to that later. My number 4 favorite thing on a Disney cruise is Pirate Night.
Arr.
Arr. It's such a fun day all around. The whole day is just wonderful. There's all sorts of pirate activities. There's pirate movies playing. A lot of times it's Pirates of the Caribbean or Peter Pan
Right.
or whatever. Lots of pirate meet and greets throughout the day. All the characters are in their pirate outfits during the day. The dinner menu is pirate themed, which is always a lot of fun.
Right, and that's at all of the dining locations.
Right, it's all the same menu. That's
Right.
one of the nights that it's the same menu on all the locations. And then it all concludes. It wraps up the day. A fun day. Everybody gets dressed up. Not everybody, but many people get dressed up. Many more than used to be. I remember we used to be one of the few people that got
Right.
dressed up. Now there's people everybody has to outdo themselves. These crazy pirate costumes that are coming in. Some people, they give you bandanas and a few things you can pick up if you want at the shops or whatever. And you can still kind of do the pirate thing without bringing the big pirate costume. And it's still a lot of
Right.
fun. But it is also a lot of fun for everybody to get totally decked out. It's like another Halloween
Absolutely.
night or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It's really fun. All wraps up with the fireworks and the show at the end of the night. And then there's another buffet because you need more food after that. That is a really good spread as well. It's just a fun day all the way across and finishing up with a really wonderful evening out on deck.
Right. And, in case you boarded and you didn't have your pirate gear with you, or let's say one of your kids left part of their costume at home, not to worry. They do have on board at the stores a lot of supplies for the pirates that are out there.
They're ready for
seeking.
you. They're ready for you.
Exactly.
And-
But yeah, that is a great
And
one.
they do give you free bandanas. If you haven't been on a Disney cruise before, they do give you free bandanas. So even if you don't bring anything, if you weren't expecting it, there is a little something so you can play
right.
along with the pirate fun. But it's a great time. It's a great time.
Yeah, that is a great number 4. I didn't even have it on my list. But
What?
that is, I know,
What?
but that's a
Pirate
great
night?
one. I know.
Pirate night. So that's my number 4 favorite thing on a Disney cruise. Now we're on to number 3. So Michelle, what's your number 3 thing on board a Disney cruise?
Okay, and as I mentioned, I had 2 number 3s. It's so
Oh, yeah.
random that I had that
That's
one.
right. I forgot you already have one.
I know that, but that Animator's Palette
Mm-hmm.
special show or second show. But my 3 alternate was Alone Time Spa Treatment, which I know I spoke about last time.
Oh, yeah.
But it really is a special spa treatment, that you really get to have like 90 minutes that you are just able to totally decompress for anything that might be going on in your life or whatever. And it is amazing. And especially on the Disney cruise, they do an awesome job making that to be so special. So I would say that would be any spa treatment, I guess, could be in my number 3, but that one is the one that comes to mind as, a little bit better than I've had several other ones. This one, because it has multiple treatments and just some additional nice amenities to it, I put that as my best spa treatment.
I know you always look forward to that.
Yes.
And I don't do the spa treatments. Michelle does, and that's great for her. She deserves it. She works very hard, and she deserves that alone time. My alone time is when she's at the spa treatment, I'll sit and read a book. A lot of times, whether it be by the pool, or usually the Quiet Cove pool, the adult pool, or sometimes on our own balcony, or just in our cabin, just depending on what the weather's like and everything else. That's kind of, she gets alone time, I get alone time, and then we come back together and we talk about it, and we have a great time together.
Exactly.
So, a lot of fun. My number number 3 thing aboard a Disney cruise is actually a stop on a Disney cruise. That is Castaway Cay, which really could be a lot higher. And it could be my number 1 thing, except for we do a lot of cruises. We're not always going to Castaway Cay, but I love it whenever we do have an itinerary that goes there. So when we're on the West Coast base, so we do a lot of sailings with Disney Cruise on the West Coast. Obviously, Castaway Cay is not there. We've done a few other Caribbean cruises that Castaway Cay doesn't necessarily get hit, but we look forward to it whenever we can. We still want to do one of the double dips that goes there twice because that's how good it is. It's the best beach day you'll ever have. Well, maybe not ever have, but it's definitely the best beach day you'll have on a Disney cruise for sure, by far. It's just like the ship. It's separated into 3 sections: children, families, adults. So if you want to get that quiet time, there's a nice quiet adult beach. If you want to get the whole family together, if you want to have the kids have some young fun, there's a kids area. We've been to a few of the different cruise lines, private destinations, whether it be an island, peninsula, whatever they want to call them. It doesn't compare.
Right.
Castaway Cay is amazing. And it's all the people you've seen on the ship, even the crew members, all the cast members from the ship will go into that port, and they'll be manning all the food stations and all the different activities and everything else. So it's not like these different people that you don't know out there on board. It's all the people you've seen aboard the ship. And it's just a really great day.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And, having lived on coastal cities for most of my life and some of the most beautiful beaches, I would still say going to that beach and going to Castaway Cay is really phenomenal. And I totally agree with you. That's a great one. And yeah, it could be higher in some people's lists for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if all we did was sail some of the 3-day, 4 days, some of the ones out of Port Canaveral all the time, where we're going there regularly, it would be easily number 1. But just because we do several Disney cruises that don't go there, that's why it's number 3. But I also this was a tough list. I'm going to go through a bunch of things at the end of this that almost made the list that didn't. But it was a tough list. But it definitely warrants being in the top 3 for sure.
Absolutely.
On to number 2. Michelle, what is your number 2 thing aboard a Disney cruise?
The sail away party.
Ooh.
Yes. As you've mentioned, we've been on other cruise ships too. And by far, the Disney Cruise Sail Away Party is the number 1. It is the best. It really does make sure everybody's involved and that they know it is the start of an amazing vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's it. You're on vacation. That's the theme of it. You're on vacation. Cut loose. Have fun.
Right.
You're on vacation.
Right. And, what's nice is, it's really cool, obviously, when you first walk on the ship and, it's like, ooh, I'm on a Disney cruise vacation, and then you do the mandatory drill, which is fine. And then after that, you just cut loose and official vacation start at that wonderful, fun sail away party. It's so lively, and a lot of, characters come out and there's singing and dancing. It's amazing. Great show and great vibes.
Yeah, it really is a good time, and it is really a good way to kick it off. You're out there, the kids are having fun, they're dancing, you're up there having fun, dancing, the show's going on, they're talking about what's ahead of you. The cruise director comes on, spells out how much fun you're going to have on this ship, and, if you're like an adult beverage, you're having an adult beverage in your hand. Usually if it's me, it's something with a big old umbrella, and it's about the, the most least manly drink you can have, but I love it every time I'm on board a Disney ship. So
that's right.
It's a lot of fun. So that's a good pick for number 2. Mine sort of relates to that. My number 2 favorite thing aboard a Disney cruise are the evening shows, because no one does entertainment like Disney. You all know that out there, and that includes Disney Cruise Line. The entertainment aboard Disney Cruise Line. You touched on it a little bit with a lot of the stuff they do. I'm specifically just talking about the evening shows here. Depending on your ship, I'm just going to run down the shows depending on what ship you're on that you might see on board. If you're on the Wonder, you've got Frozen, a musical spectacular, Tangled, the musical on the Magic, Beauty and the Beast on the Dream, Disney's Aladdin, a musical spectacular on the Fantasy, Twice Charmed, an original twist on a timeless classic on the Magic, The Golden Mickeys, which has been a classic show for a long time aboard the Wonder and the Fantasy, Disney's Believe aboard the Fantasy and the Dream, Disney Wishes aboard the Fantasy, and Disney Dreams, an enchanted classic on the wonder and the magic, and that is my all-time favorite show. I never leave it without shedding like 800 tears.
Right?
Because
Exactly.
it's usually near the end of the sailing, so you're already like, oh, we've had so much fun, it's over. But then it just touches your heart with so much,
Right.
Disney magic. It's really a wonderful show, but a lot of these are really great shows.
That's right. And, when you hear companies or people say Broadway style shows, Disney actually does do that. They live up to that claim for sure. Their shows are amazing, impressive. We've seen like some of the newer technologies that they're using to really up their game, and it makes it even more spectacular.
Cool puppetry they're doing now with a lot of these shows.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. That's one thing. If you go on a Disney cruise, make sure you put the time out. I know there's a lot to do on these Disney cruises. There's a lot. But make sure when some of these special shows are going on, the ones I've mainly just named,
right,
you have to go see those if you haven't been to see them before. I mean, some of them if you've seen the Golden Mickeys 8 times, maybe you don't need to see the Golden Mickeys again.
Right.
But if you haven't seen them, you should really go out and make the effort because they're so wonderful. There's great shows.
That's true.
And if you're on longer cruises, like we've been on a couple of times, and sometimes even some of the shorter cruises, they also will bring aboard some special guests to perform. A lot of times they're Broadway stars. We were on the Transatlantic cruise a couple of years ago. We had Susan Egan, who was the original Belle on Broadway, and she also played Meg in Hercules, and Mandy Gonzalez, who's currently in Hamilton on Broadway, but she's been in Wicked, she's been in The Heights, and they performed for us. So a lot of times there's some other great special shows as well on some of these cruises.
Right, absolutely. So that was a good one.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Those are our number 2 favorite things aboard a Disney cruise. On to the big ones. The number 1 favorite things we have aboard a Disney cruise. Michelle, what is your number 1?
Drum roll. Trivia games. Huzzah!
Love the trivia.
Absolutely. And maybe it's my competitive nature, but they do an amazing job of making trivia games a lot of fun. And they have such a variety. They hit everything that for everybody. So they'll have some that are like Disney trivia, Disney movie trivia, or Disney music, TV theme songs. But our favorites, because you do so well.
We're going to brag a little bit here in a second.
Yes, is 80s music.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to brag here. Last time we were on a Disney cruise, I nailed the 80s music trivia. I got every single one right. Perfect score. Nailed a good old gift bag full of stuff.
Right.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is I've tried several times and come like one short of winning it. Usually it's myself and Michelle, and there'll be a group of like 6 people that they're voting or chiming in for theirs, and they'll end up beating me by 1 or 2 songs. But this one had it perfect. No one was beating me.
Right.
It was great. So
and there was
I'm bragging.
4 people in our group, and you did each one of them. So, you got every single one right.
So,
even the bonus scores.
Totally bragging, but yes.
But yeah, the trivia games are a lot of fun. Right. They're great whether you're doing it with your family or if you're doing the adult only ones, then those are fun too. But yeah, if you go on a Disney cruise, which I strongly urge you to do, is make sure you catch a trivia game.
Another one of our favorites is they do this one where they have the piano player there, and he'll piano play the music, the Disney music trivia.
Right.
And so he'll play like just a little part of it. It's not the actual number. It's just him playing on the piano, and you have to try and figure out what song it is. And they usually ask some sort of trivia question to go on there. If there's a bonus point off of each one, that's one of our favorite ones to do as well. So. That's good. I like the trivia. It didn't make my list, but it did make my other things that are my favorite things aboard a Disney cruise. My number 1 thing aboard a Disney cruise is something kind of simple. It's the little magical moments that you can only get aboard a Disney cruise.
Absolutely.
That moment, we've talked about this in the past, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't had it happen before, but you all who've been on a Disney cruise know the moment you first walk on board the ship is like you get chills just thinking about it.
I was going to say, I'm getting choked up. Stupid me.
When you're walking down the corridors and you turn the corner and there's Belle, or there's Mickey, or there's goofy or
Right.
whatever, just little things that are just make your day. You're not even planning on it. It's happening. Your child's there and, turns the corner and there's Minnie Mouse in front of him or her,
Right,
and
right.
just see your child's face light up and
Exactly.
squeal sometimes at the enjoyment of being so lucky to see this character in front of them.
Absolutely.
It's just kind of things like that only happen aboard Disney Cruise. The service you get on board a Disney
Right.
Cruise, the cast members, the crew members, they are so good, and they really want to accommodate you, and they take those extra steps. And I'm going to talk about something from one of our listeners here in just a second that really will kind of show this a little bit as well. It's just really special pixie dust moments that really make yourself. It's really, it's like, there's a lot of cruise ships that have some great service, but nothing beats Disney Cruise Line's service and those little magical moments you find.
Absolutely. And, it just continues every day that you're there. You're feeling that in there. But like you said, the crew members are amazing. They're very attentive to things that, you might just take for granted. Like if a child is trying to get a pizza and they can't quite carry maybe 2 plates or their plate in a drink, they're going to go out there and help them. And that may be the person who is painting, has nothing to do with the food service part. It's just they're all in it to make everybody's vacation special.
Yeah, and they do a great job of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, really, like I said, it is the best of all the cruises. We've been on 4 different cruise lines, including Disney Cruise. The service on Disney Cruise is so much better. Eventually, we're going to go through and kind of compare because all these cruises do things well. They do different things well, but Disney Cruise just has a few things that they do extra specially.
Absolutely.
So some of our listeners also chimed in on their favorite things. We just got done with our 5 favorite things, and we'd like to hear your 5 favorite things or just your favorite thing if you want to contact us. So you can find us on all the ways we talked about at the beginning of the show, and we'll go about them again at the end of the show. But feel free to contact us, and we may bring them up on next week's show as well. But here's what we already have from a couple of our listeners. OG Hyperion Adventurer Amy chimed in. She said, there's so many wonderful things. Here's one of my favorites, the Oceaneer Club, the Oceaneer Lab. We travel with just our immediate family, so on typical vacations, we're all together all the time. On DCL, my son adores the Oceaneer Club and willingly runs to explore a new Star Wars game, meet a unique character, or just let loose and explore. It's his vacation too, and this gives him some independence that's hard to find at his age otherwise. For us parents, it's a relief to have such a safe, trusted space for my son. She says, I don't leave him anywhere, where I know he's having a blast and we can go relax or see a movie on board. It's rare for me to sit still on a vacation, so going to the adults-only pool deck with a drink and a sea view is heaven. Made better because I don't have, quote, mommy guilt, end quote, that my son is elsewhere and I know he's having a blast. With the awesome setup and schedule aboard DCL, we were able to balance this alone, quote, alone, end quote, a time for each of us with tons of awesome family time and adventures. So I agree with those.
Totally
things.
agree. Yeah. Because
go ahead.
Because they, really do a great job of having things that as a family you're all doing together and enjoying it, but then both parents and kids can also have a little bit of separate time that is totally fun and, like she says, no guilt.
Right, absolutely. And it does give you that chance that, if you want to go out to a special dinner at Palo, or if you're on the Fantasy of the Dream, if you want to go to Remy, really live it up, your kids are well taken care of, they're going to eat fine, they're going to have a good time, they're going to be enjoying it. They won't miss you for a couple hours while you're away having a good time. So I couldn't agree more. Another note, and this goes back to the little magical moments I was talking about earlier. Right. We got another Hyperion adventurer, Megan, who sent us a note saying, DCL is the only Disney vacation my husband loves, and it's because there's something for everyone. What makes the cruise for us is the service. We talked about the service already. Right. First cruise we took, we had a shy, just about 3-year-old. Our dining staff drew her out of her shell immediately, dubbed her Squeaky Princess Piper. So cute.
It is cute.
And the entire staff, not just the ones assigned to us, would greet her at the entrance to the dining room every night with great fanfare. At our table every night, they had a bowl of her favorite cut-up cucumbers and tomatoes waiting for her. Those are one of those things that we've talked about. The staff will get to know what you like, and they will, if you think you're gonna want it every night, they'll have it ready for you every night. They had her waiting for her. I think she went home actually believing she was a princess. So
Aww,
that is
that's
so cute.
sweet. Yeah.
That is so cute. So lastly, she put in, I love that DC allows my little ones to visit other countries in an easy, stress-free way that they love. I don't have to worry about languages, safety, customs, etc. with a tiny little child. But now she has a taste of adventure and loves other cultures, and when she is older, she'll be ready to deal with all of the above. I wouldn't cruise any other line with kids.
Right, so. Absolutely. And it is a great way to, whether you're talking little kids or whether you're talking kids that are a little older, to have them experience, that the educational part of a Disney Cruise Line, of going to other countries and really just experiencing differences throughout the world, but in a very safe environment.
Yeah, Disney does a great job of making sure when they go to any of these ports. As a matter of fact, they took Mexico off the itinerary for a while because Mexico wasn't particularly safe for a while there.
Right,
they stopped doing a lot of sailings to Mexico so much. But now it's a little bit safer, so they're back. But they always want to be sure that they're good with that. They don't want to put families in harm's way when you're going to some of these countries. So,
right.
They check out their excursions really well, making sure they're family friendly for everybody. If it's just for adults, they'll tell you it's just for adults. But a lot of them, they want it to be family friendly, so you're ready to go. And Disney Cruise does that the best of. Most of the cruise lines do a good job of checking out their different shore excursions, but Disney does the best to hit everybody across the board that could be sailing with them.
Absolutely.
So one more thing we did, since this is all about Disney Cruise this week, we kind of were curious as to what people's favorite Disney Cruise Line ship was. So we put a couple polls out there. We did one on Twitter. We did one on Facebook. So here's the poll results. It was easily, by far, the Disney Fantasy was their people's favorite ship, which we sailed on.
Right.
Coming in second was the Disney Dream. So the newer ships are kind of getting more votes out there than anybody else. Followed by, it was a tie between the Disney Magic and the Disney Wonder. So it's kind of the older ships, maybe not seeing as much love, although I will tell you that we love the Disney Wonder. It's our favorite ship. It wasn't my first Disney cruise ship I sailed on. I believe, our first Disney cruises were aboard the Magic, right?
When we're together, yeah.
Well, also, didn't you, before you met me, sail on the Disney Magic on its inaugural year or very close to it?
Yeah, I've done both of the older ships on their inaugural year.
Yeah, so you sailed on that one first, and we've had some very other special moments aboard the Disney Wonder that really make it our favorite ship. But we also like it's more compact. I mean, we love we haven't been on the Dream yet. That's the one we need to finish out the Grand Slam is be on the Dream. But we have been on the Fantasy, and we love a lot of the extra stuff on there. The Aqueduct is one of our favorite things, and it's really cool. But just the size of it is we just kind of like the intimate feel more on some of the older classic ships, I think.
Right. I mean, the bells and whistles of, like we said, the detective game. I mean, that's amazing and fun. And there's, obviously more things. There's Remy's, which we love also. But like you said, the older ships are more intimate feeling, and so that's very special to us.
Absolutely. So a couple of things from some people that contacted us. We have a quote here from Suzanne who says, I love the Dream. We took a med cruise on Magic last summer, and that ship was fabulous. The adult bars, piano bar specifically, was our fave. So it looks like she's can't decide on which one she likes, but she said the Dream right off the bat, so we're going to take it for the Dream. Janice says it's the Disney Wonder. She's our OG and holds a special place in our heart. Amy says it's the Disney Dream. Jeremy, it's the Wonder. It was cruise number 1, and so it's number 1 forever in his heart. The Fantasy was our first. That's by Kaylee. It was just so many of the great people that have chimed in with us. They love Disney Cruise. They've sailed about all these ships. I don't think you can go wrong with any of these ships. Some may fit what you're kind of looking for more, but they're all wonderful ships.
Exactly. And, the one thing we want to also point out with the Disney Cruise Line is that they do have the specialty seasonal cruises, and right now they have the Halloween cruises, which is so much fun for everybody, adults and kids being able to dress up and trick or treat and enjoy some of the other special decorations that are going on there. And, the Christmas time is amazing. Right. Star Wars and Marvel Days.
Yep.
I mean, there's just so many wonderful,
so much good stuff
that you can go on these cruise ships over and over because you can experience different things around even going on the same ship multiple times.
One more note, because this person connected with us on Twitter, and I wanted to get her in here. It's Vanessa, and it says, we have had the most magical cruises on the Magic, which makes sense, magical cruises on the Magic, from 12-night Med back-to-back Norway and Baltic. Wow, that sounds amazing. Back-to-back Norway and Baltic. Wow.
Adopt us.
Yes. Plus, I like the size and the reimagineering over the years. We did the Magic on a transatlantic cruise a couple years back and really had a great time aboard that ship. So here's some of the things that didn't quite make the cut on my list. I'm going to start with just the dining rotation in general. I love that you go to a different dining room every night, so it kind of freshens things up.
Right.
Every evening you go through it. Every dining room on these ships has a little bit of a different feel to it, and that's kind of cool. The size of the staterooms. They really great size of staterooms. They're very big. They know most of these people that are going to be boarding this are going to be families, so you're going to have a lot of times it's 2 adults, 2 kids, whatever. And especially the split bathrooms when you're all trying to get ready for dinner. So one person can be showering while another person is doing their hair in the other bathroom. Really, really important and really great. And the only place I've seen that is aboard Disney Cruise Line. Other things you just talked about, the special days and cruises, the Star Wars Day at Sea, Marvel Day at Sea, Halloween on the High Seas, the Very Maritime cruises, all those. We've done the Halloween on the High Seas, we've done the Star Wars Day at Sea, and we had a blast on both of those. The cream cheese filled cinnamon pretzel that you can get is it's not on the menu anywhere, but you usually find it like at the pizza place or whatever. You can ask around, you can find out for it when you're on the ship. It's one of the most amazing things, and every time we happen to get on board, we're like, we have to get one of those.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that is good. And you just have to kind of be watching for it and asking for it and hoping for it. Speaking of that, another thing that I think I'm not sure if they have it. I don't think they have it on the Fantasy and the Dream, but on the Wonder and the Magic is the shawarma. Yes.
I love the shawarma. Oh, it's so good. And you can get it made done up however you want it with different items on it. It's really, really good.
Yes.
The beverage tasting sessions, you talked a little bit about that last week. Those are always a blast. The upscale dining, whether it's brunch or dinner at Palo or for a real splurge. If you want to go up and do Remy on the Fantasy and the Dream, Remy, we've done it once, and we've never had a dining experience like that anyplace else. So good.
Amazing.
Disney Trivia, you talked about the Quiet Cove Pool. If you just want to get some adult time, like if the kids are playing at the labs, whatever, or the club, and you want to have some low time, the Quiet Cove Pool is wonderful. These nice cushioned loungers. It's really nice and serene and peaceful. It's really great. Satellite Falls aboard the Dream and the Fantasy. Love Satellite Falls. Another wonderful place to just kind of sit and relax as the water just kind of down on you.
Yeah,
so
it's very therapeutic.
And of course, I don't know how this didn't make my list. It really probably should have made my list. Unlimited Mickey premium ice cream bars. Ain't all you want. You just order them. I want ice cream bar.
Don't tell everybody. We need them for
Mickey
us.
bar, Mickey bar, Mickey bar. We never go to bed without a Mickey bar when we're on the ship. So good.
Yeah. So good. Another nice thing that didn't make our list is at the bar where you can do the, I don't know what you call it, surprise champagne pour. That's
yes. It's in the Cadillac Lounge on board. I know it's. I think they do it on. I'm not sure what they do. I know on the Wonder, the Cadillac Lounge, but if you go in there, there's something on the menu where it's basically it just has a set price there, and it'll just kind of if you just order a glass, they'll give you the glass at this price, and it could be they'll never give you something that isn't worth whatever you paid. But you could get something, depending on what they have open, that is like you'd be paying $12 for a glass of wine that is a $24 glass of wine.
Right.
I mean, it could be. It's not always that way. You don't know what you're getting.
Right.
But a lot of times you get a lot of value out of that.
Exactly.
So that should have been a tip. We should have saved that for a tip.
Well, and another good thing that's on there is, especially if you are into sports, is all the sports theming and the sports events. If you're on board a ship when something sports-wise is going on, that you're not going to miss out on it. And it's fun to get in a crowd of people with all different kind of enthusiasm for the different sporting events. So that's something that's also enjoyable on the Disney cruise.
Absolutely. There's something there for everybody, truly. on a Disney cruise. Something for everybody for sure. So that's it. That's our look at Disney Cruise Line for the week. Our top 5 favorite things aboard a Disney cruise. Again, we'd love to hear from you and know what your favorite things are aboard the Disney cruise, along with so many of our listeners that contacted us already and we shared with them. Let's move on here. That was a long segment. Let's move on. Let's just do a quick review of Star Wars Resistance from last week. We debuted it. We saw it last week, and I don't know about you, but I liked it a lot.
I did too. I wasn't sure about the animation, because a lot of people were tweeting out some less than positive things, but I wasn't swayed by that, obviously, but I did like it. I thought it was a really interesting technique that they used. It was really interesting how they used shadowing quite a bit. It was very prominent in there. The story was good. I think that over time it's going to develop even more. The characters are very rich characters that you can see them really bringing a lot to the table for, the Star Wars venues. So yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, the animation, I compare it to, is like anime, but it was kind of a softened, and like anime can be a little harsh at times.
Right.
It was kind of a softened anime, but I like what you talked about, the shading and different use of shadows and everything. I thought the story was interesting. It still is it's mostly just, setting the stage for what's to come. I liked a lot of the new characters. The animation, like you said, was better than expected.
Right.
And, I liked that they brought in some characters, like Poe and
BB-8.
BB-8. Well, BB-8's going to be around a lot, but I was mostly talking about Poe Dameron and General Organa.
Right.
And we're going to see a little bit more of these characters, but they didn't make them the focus. We'll have them in there just to kind of set the stage for all these new characters until you get to know these characters. But then we'll kind of step back and, we're not going to dominate this thing, except for BB-8's kind of acting as the audience there, and that he's observing everything that's going on. And we know you love BB-8, so
absolutely.
I know you're excited that BB-8's going to be in this thing. I thought this pilot was actually better than the Clone Wars pilot, and I thought it was better than the Rebels pilot.
I would agree with you on that.
I'm excited to see where this goes. Obviously, these characters will develop over time. That's what always happens with these shows. But I'm excited. I think it's a good jumping off point as we move forward with future episodes.
Absolutely. And they really touch on different age groups. And I thought it was really well-rounded and excited to see more.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to tonight's episode
Absolutely.
to see where it goes and as it continues on throughout this season and hopefully many more seasons to come. So that's what we thought about Star Wars Resistance. What did you think? Feel free to send us a note and let us know what you thought about it. Right. On to our Disney stories of the week. We need to move through these quickly because we are long like we always are. But I got to stop saying that because we're on time. Anyway, let's get to, there was unfortunately a little bit of sad news in Disney stories of the week, and mostly it dealt with park stuff. The Disneyland Resort officially decided to cancel the plans for the new upscale resort hotel this week. We knew that might be coming, but it's official this week. This from WDW News Today. Disneyland Resort spokesman Liz Jagger made the following statement on the project. We've taken the time to review the economics of the proposed Four Diamond Hotel for Anaheim and have made the final decision to cancel the project. While this is disappointing for many, the conditions and agreements that stimulated this investment in Anaheim no longer exist, and we must therefore adjust our long-term investment strategy. So there you have it. Right. Unfortunately, it's not going to come to fruition. You can blame Anaheim, you can blame Disney for doing some things differently, but either way, it's not happening. Right. So that's too bad. The hotel was going to be built to take advantage, if you didn't know already, advantage of a City of Anaheim tax incentive for building 4-star hotels within the city. The program created in 2015 allowed Disney to retain 70% of the occupancy tax visitors brought in for the first 20 years of operation, but the City of Anaheim denied the incentive when Disney revised hotel plans, forcing Disney to rethink the building of the hotel. So that's what ended up basically cutting this thing off.
Right.
So What'll be interesting to see now is what the next steps happen in that area because, they've closed down the ESPN zone. They've closed down the Rainforest Cafe. They've closed down the AMC theaters there. There's a lot of the places that were taking up that space. What do they do with that space? They have reopened the Earl Sandwich, so everybody cheer for that because we love the Earl Sandwich, so that's good. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with some of this other space that they have open right now. How do they develop it? Do they change it? Or does Disney come up with new plans for something else there?
Right. And Disney's always good at bouncing back with, challenges and, trying to put a positive look on this. Our fingers are crossed that the Run Disney events will come back sooner than originally thought of. And so let's keep that thought in mind.
That's what I'm thinking right now. And we'll see what they have when we're going to develop area over there. But I'm thinking now, once the parking garage gets done, maybe we start seeing Run Disney events back on the West Coast. I'm thinking maybe 2020. Maybe it kicks off with the one of the Star Wars races out here in January of 2020. Hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully, we'll see.
Please.
Maybe earlier, but hopefully in 2020. We'd love to see the Run Disney races come back to the West Coast. I know there's a lot of you out there that agree with us on that. Speaking of that parking structure, the Disneyland Resort announced that the addition of a footbridge to their new parking structure that they're building currently right now. So that's good news. I mean, I guess this probably came out since they can't have the hotel there. Well, we can do this thing that kind of helps some people out. The parking garage is going to be a 6,500 space garage. Will now feature a pedestrian bridge over Magic Way. So this is straight from the Disney Parks blog. This new bridge will connect visitors from the parking structure over Magic Way to the rest of the resort, allowing guests the option to stroll through the downtown Disney district to the theme park's main entrance. In addition, the new bridge eliminates the foot traffic crossing the street at Disneyland Drive and Magic Way, providing not only convenience but also greater pedestrian safety and better traffic circulation. If you don't know where that is, if you know the Disneyland Resort at all, of course, the Disneyland Drive is the main strip there where the hotels kind of line up on, and then Magic Way is kind of the turnoff you go to, like say if you're going to the Disneyland Hotel to go park there. But if you do the walking path from where the current garage, the Mickey and Friends garage is now, you're crossing some streets there.
Right.
If you're walking in, not taking the tram in. So this bridge will eliminate that need and give you a little bit easier access.
Right. This was great news, and I saw the rendition drawings, and it looks great. So this is very, very exciting. Happy news.
Happy news, yes. After some sad news, that is happy news, and I'm looking for. We do the walk a lot of times. Sometimes we don't catch the tram. We'd like to walk over, and sometimes we'll go into the park, especially if we're going into Disneyland Park. We'll catch the monorail midway through downtown Disney, and that's going to make this much easier to accomplish without having to stop at lights, turn here, turn left, turn right. We're just going to walk right in. And I like that a lot. So that's good. So we went to happy news. We're doing the roller coaster
Ping
here.
pong, ping pong.
Sad news, happy news, and some possible sad news, but you can look at it how you want to look at it as possibly eventually be happy news. The sad news is that Spaceship Earth reportedly is set to close for quite a while for some reimagining coming up here soon. This from WDW News Today. Again, one of our favorite sites to get Disney news. If you're looking for them, they're at wdwnt.com. And they're on Twitter, they're on Facebook and everything. They do a lot of good stories out there. Anyway, this is from them. The overhaul will be so thorough that it will require the ride to close from early 2020 until the park's 40th anniversary in the second half of 2022. This is not confirmed yet, but it's in many sites. So it looks like this might be what's going to happen. Spaceship Earth, this again from WDW News Today. Spaceship Earth is aging, and it is about time for the entire ride track to be overhauled. As well, Disney will use this opportunity to extend the length of the attraction with new load and unload areas that may not be in the same places that they are now. Also sounds like the current post-show building that houses Project Tomorrow will be removed and an entirely new structure built. The ride inside of Spaceship Earth will see a refreshing of all scenes leading up to the Industrial Revolution portion. That's where the newspapers are being printed and young boys, extra. Yeah. with the changes on the grand scale coming for every scene after that, which makes sense because you kind of got to update it, because you're kind of moving to what is the present now.
Right.
So they're going to refresh that. It says this story also says that sources also indicate that the scene in the dome at the top of the attraction, where guests look back at the Earth from space, will be drastically reimagined, utilizing the latest in projection mapping technologies. As far as the exterior of Spaceship Earth, they will indeed be working on setting up projection mapping there as well, covering the entire geodesic sphere with projections during the ride's lengthy downtime and the redevelopment of the area around it. It should make for quite a nighttime display. I'm thinking they're going to do the Death Star again by that.
Right.
Because remember when they did that a couple of years back? And that was
great.
Fantastic. So, I don't know. I'm sad that it's closing. We like Spaceship. It's a mellow ride. We like it. It's a long ride. It's a nice way to cool down a bit.
Yes.
It is a little dated. It can use some refurbishing. I mean, we mainly go on that ride for the little fun thing that happens at the end, and we always get a kick out of that. But, it's going to be sad to see her go away. But at least we have a year here to enjoy her for a while, and then we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how they reimagine it.
Right. And, it's great reuse of space, Oh, space.
Yeah.
I know, right? But I mean, to reuse.
She's punny and she doesn't even know it.
I know. Oh, that's so bad. But really, refurbishing the rides, that's something Disney is always doing and always making the things fresh and new for people. And so that, if you've seen it before, now you get to see something else entirely different or slightly different, but much more Imagineered, and this is good news.
Yeah,
it's sad for to be without it for a little while, but it's not like there's not tons of things to do, and so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's always sad when an attraction closes down for a period of time, but 2 years is a long time to wait for it. But hopefully, the outcome of this will be good when it's all said and done. And like I said, I do think it needs some sprucing up. So I'm going to get out there, and we're going to be out there coming up here next year, and we'll be going on Spaceship Earth a couple times in the current incarnation, and we'll look forward to in 2022 if this story is true, and I'm assuming it is, when the new incarnation comes up, the reimagining of it comes out.
Yes.
So. On to happier news. Let's get to the holiday news because we're starting to get to that holiday season now. Disney announces its ultimate Christmas time vacation package at the Walt Disney World Resort. So I don't know if you know anything about this, but this is a total package just wrapped around the holidays at the Walt Disney World Resort. You get a lot of cool stuff with it. So here's what's coming up if you want to do this package this year. This is straight from the Disney Parks blog. Guests who purchase this package will enjoy a 5-night stay at a select Disney Moderate, Disney Deluxe, or Disney Deluxe Villa Resort Hotel, checking in on December 17th and checking out on December 22nd, 2018. That includes 4-day theme park tickets with park hopper option and some exclusive experiences at the Walt Disney World Resort during their stay. Here's how it breaks down. They have it scheduled for you. So not only can you have some time on your own at the parks, but here are the various different things that will be you allowed to do along with the one price for this vacation package. Right. On December 17th, you'll have exclusive nighttime access to Toy Story Land, Disney's Hollywood Studios. The land, and this is interesting. This is kind of fun news for everybody out there, whether you're doing this package or not. This land will celebrate its first holiday season with special decor guests can't miss. So even Toy Story Land is going to be decked out for Christmas. So that's cool. December 18th, you'll have tickets to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party at the Magic Kingdom Park.
Excellent.
December 19th, exclusive access to select attractions at Disney's Animal Kingdom, including Avatar, Flight of Passage, Na'vi River Journey, Expedition Everest, and Dinosaur. And there will be a showing of Rivers of Light.
Wow.
So that is cool.
Very cool.
December 20th, exclusive early morning shopping access to World of Disney Store and the Disney Springs Christmas Tree Trail, because you have to get your Christmas shopping done. What better place to do it than at the Walt Disney World Resort at Disney Springs at World of Disney Store. Yes. Right. So you can get your shopping done. They'll also have some free hot chocolate and cotton candy for you while you're out there, while you're doing the Disney Springs Christmas Tree Trail. And there's so many great Christmas trees all over the resort. But there they have a bunch of them real close together. It's really kind of cool place to walk through. December 21st, an exclusive holiday-themed buffet dinner in World Showplace Events Pavilion at Epcot to wrap it all up. In a nice, tidy little bow. And then, of course, you also have your tickets so you can go to the parks during the day and everything. So it's really cool. So here's again from the Disney Parks blog. Because theme park admission is included in this package, guests will be able to truly enjoy the holidays at our theme parks with all our other guests, including a Frozen Holiday Wish at Magic Kingdom Park, the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays at Epcot, Flurry of Fun festivities, and the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam, which we like, at the Disney Hollywood Studios, the Diwali Holiday Editions to Up, a Great Bird Adventure at Disney's Animal Kingdom Park, and much more. So really a lot of cool stuff. Again, this offer can be booked between October 22nd and December 2nd. Prices vary depending on, of course, what type of resort you're staying at, whether it be a moderate, whether it be a deluxe, whatever it may be. But just for a base number, they put one base number out there that if you're a family of 4, you can do this package starting at $178 per person per night, for example, in a garden view room at Disney's Port Orleans Riverside Resort. So that would be a total package of $3,500, which isn't horrible when you consider the park tickets and all these exclusive events that you get to go to.
Yeah.
Plus, it's not really a horrible price.
No, it's not.
So if you're thinking about going out there at this time, you may want to look into this package. Really kind of cool. And it hits all the highlights of the holidays out there.
And we're going to be talking more holiday news next week. So that's a nice preview.
We'll be doing a lot of holiday news next week.
Right.
One more holiday news story I wanted to get to here is that D23, our favorite fan club, Disney's official fan club, it's inviting guests at the Walt Disney World Resort to learn how to build their own gingerbread houses. I know, this is like you're trying to figure out how you can plan this out now. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to run into your schedule when you can get out there, but here's what it is. This is straight from the D23 website. D23 Gold members visiting the Walt Disney World Resort are in for a real treat, quote unquote, this holiday season. In celebration of the 20th anniversary of the famous life-size gingerbread house, D23 invites a limited number of Disney fans to attend an exclusive gingerbread workshop at Disney's Grand Floridian Hotel and Spa.
Nice.
So here's the deal. D23 Gold members and Gold family members, along with their friends and family, will get to build and decorate a gingerbread house alongside a Walt Disney World Bakery team expert. In addition, attendees will enjoy a behind-the-scenes look at how the life-size gingerbread house at Disney's Grand Floridian Hotel and Spa is created, plus how more holiday favorite sweet treats come to life around the Walt Disney World Resort. It's kind of a cool thing. It's only one day that you can do this. It's going to be on. Where is it? Saturday, December 15th. So if you're going to be out there for this time, you may want to, and you're a Gold member or a Gold family member, you may want to look into this. Here's the pricing for this. It's one price for your group. So if you're a Gold member, you can pay for you and one guest. This price is $225. You get one D23 exclusive gingerbread house kit baked by the Walt Disney World pastry team. You get light tableside treats for up to 2 guests plus hot cocoa, 2 D23 exclusive travel mugs, and 2 custom created D23 gifts created exclusively for this holiday event. If you're going to do it with a family, so up to 3 members with if you're a Gold family member, up to 3 guests, that's $350. And you get you get the same one gingerbread house kit. You get the light tableside treats for up to 4 guests plus hot cocoa, 2 of the mugs, and also 2 of the custom gifts. And of course, you can take the gingerbread house you build with you when you're done with it. Like I said, it only happens one day, Saturday, December 15th. The party starts at 1 p.m. and will last approximately 2 hours. Passes for this go on sale tomorrow morning. Again, we're recording this on Sunday, October 14th. So the passes go on sale on Monday, October 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern at d23.com. So if you're interested in this, you may want to hop on that tomorrow morning, Monday morning.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. And, we've gone out to the Grand Floridian and enjoyed, the life-size gingerbread house. We've bought the shingles and it's like, how many can I fit in the suitcase? So it's a great experience out there.
We are going to talk a lot more about the holidays out there, but the gingerbread houses will be one of the big things we bring up next week.
Exactly.
Next week, we're actually going to talk about that, and I'll go over that more in a little bit. But that is really cool stuff, and that's a really interesting event. I wish we were going to be out there for that time because I think I would jump. It's not a bad price. When you think about what an exclusive event, you get all these treats and you get some special. It's when you just see it right off the bat. When I first saw it, I was thinking it was $225 per person. I'm like, that's a little crazy, But just $225 for a group of 2 or $350 for a group of up to 4, it's not a crazy price. Yeah. So A lot of fun for a really special event you can do while you're out there. One more note, and it's just a quick note that I just want to bring up because I think it's a really special thing, and we really feel for all those victims of Hurricane Michael out there.
Exactly.
We've seen the devastation. It's been terrible, and it was really great news this week when Disney stepped up and they donated $1 million to help the disaster victims of Hurricane Michael. The contribution to aid in relief efforts across Florida's Gulf Coast region and other areas impacted by Hurricane Michael. The donation will support disaster response and recovery efforts throughout the Florida Disaster Fund. So you really feel for you if any of you out there were impacted by this. Michelle's been in something very similar to this.
Right. House destroyed with Hurricane Andrew. So I can totally understand what people went through and what they're going to be going through for a long time, how it's very disruptive. However, that is great that Disney did make that donation. That's amazing, and that's great.
So anyway, our thoughts and prayers are out there for
Absolutely.
all of you out there that have been impacted by this and all the storms that came, Florence earlier that went through a lot of the South Carolina, Virginia area and such, all of the people that have been affected by these things. We feel for you, and we're sending out our love to you.
Absolutely, yes.
So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. Oh, we have one more. Michelle has a Disney story. I always forget. She tells me I have a Disney story, and I'm like, I got to move on.
I know.
No, Michelle has a Disney story. I always love because she always has fun, interesting Disney stories. Reminder, I'm like, place is closed.
No.
This place is opening.
I know. Next time we do the podcast, remind me to bring tissue or something. No,
she always has the really great stories. So Michelle, please let's hear your story of the week.
All right. Well, thanks, honey. So last night we were watching Toy Story, and interestingly, we were talking about how revolutionary it was for the world of animation. And you didn't know what the story is that I was preparing for today, but it kind of went along with that. So this week, the Disney Studios did a new first, and they debuted it in the U.S. at the New York Film Festival, which was their first virtual reality short film.
Oh, I did hear a little something about this.
Cycle. Yeah. It's called Cycle. The movie was directed by Jeff Gibson, and he worked on Frozen and Zootopia and Moana. So he said the movie is loosely based on his childhood, where he spent time with his grandparents. And interestingly, he was also trained as an architect. So he talks about how buildings end up having a life of their own just by all the occupants that come in. And so it does sound like it's going to be a very emotionally driven, it is an emotionally driven short. And just as a little warning, if you go out there, it's amazing that people are putting spoilers out there. So I know.
I hate that.
I know. I was surprised. But anyways, what was really interesting is it's just kind of the process. So he admitted that storyboarding was going to be a big challenge because the way they do storyboards is on a very, two-dimensional surface. Sure. And so how do you develop a storyboard for a virtual reality type of a show? So they really ended up getting, a lot of different techniques together. Some of these things I'm really not clear of what they are, but there's Quill VR painting techniques, motion capture, and use of sculptures. Mm-hmm. And but they said the biggest hurdle, though, was creating this immersive environment that didn't distract or overwhelm the viewers from really engaging in the storyline. So I thought those were some really unique issues that, had never been addressed before in the world of animation, and Disney's being on the forefront of this. So, like I said, it is supposedly a very emotional story. Their producer, who was Lauren Brown, was quoted to say, "I remember that every time Gibson, would pitch it around the studio, we would get people crying just hearing about it."
Wow.
Yeah, and Gibson himself said it's an emotionally driven film expressing the real ups and downs, happy and sad moments in life. But again, I think just the whole issue of that they really are on the forefront of looking at what virtual reality can offer in terms of entertainment and saying how can that cross into the realm of their animation. And so I want to kind of end up with one of his quotes that Gibson said is that executives and studio leadership noted there's excitement around the film in VR and that they're seeing there's potential for connecting story and stories with audiences in a new way. He's not really saying what's coming up next, or if there is. He's kind of holding that close to the chest. But he did say that I think it's cool that this studio does features that gets us so excited, but also takes time to explore new spaces, and that's what he loves about Disney.
Wow. Very cool.
Right. So, it was really kind of funny that we were watching and making those comments about Toy Story last night. But it is awesome seeing the Disney company and the Disney studios really looking and seeing, what else can they do to help, grow and enrich the world of animation.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad they're, trying to get to the forefront and seeing what's out there and what the future might provide as far as animation. So that's really great. And
yeah, so that was just featured last week at the New York Film Festival. It had an other external to the United States release earlier, but this was the first U.S. release.
Cool. Yeah. So now I have to get maybe this along with my Vader Immortal
right?
thing that I was talking about. Was it last week, the week before, whatever it is, the new VR Star Wars game that's coming out. So maybe I will. I thought I'd never get involved in virtual reality, but maybe I need to start looking at that differently.
Right.
So.
Well, and some of the things we've talked about too is how movie theaters are, really needing to revisit how do they make sure people are coming in. I mean, with so much content out there that you can get, at home, that, what are some of the things that they can do to continue to draw people in? And this would be another avenue. I mean, just like if you think of how Walt had movie theaters bring in specific sound equipment for Fantasia, this is kind of on that same pathway
right.
for the Disney studios.
Really interesting stuff. Really cool stuff. Cool story.
Thank you.
I like that. I'm glad I didn't skip over you. I'm glad you went and slugged me in the arm there to make sure I don't forget you.
Even though last night I said, don't forget I have
Yeah, I know. This morning she reminded me again, but I'm such an absent-minded person that I just plow on here and just moving along. So I'm glad we got to that story. So thank you for that story, Michelle. And now we're going to keep on with Michelle because we move on to our vacation tips segment of the week, and we always go to Michelle first because one, she's wonderful, she's fantastic, but she also has the best tip. So we want to lead you off with a really good tip on our vacation tip. So here is Michelle's tip of the week.
Well, thank you, baby. So kind of going along with the theme of the Disney cruise, I thought what could be a great tip, and I actually have two little tips on that. The first one, and people may already know this, but if you haven't done a cruise before, want to let you know you can order as many entrees as you want at each dinner seating.
And do.
Right, and do.
If you can't decide between the two entrees, order them both. You don't have to eat all of both of them.
Right.
But order them both. Maybe you'll like one more than the other.
Right. And the second tip as it relates to the Disney cruise, and you touched a little bit about this on some of the aspects of what makes the Disney cruise unique, is their the rooms, the cabins, I should say, layout and size. And the fact that they do have a sitting area with a couch that converts into a bed. And the fact that they do have the split bathroom is, if you are looking to go on a family cruise on the Disney Cruise Line and you do want to try to cut some costs, having a balcony is not a necessity. If you, just to let you know, the cabin sizes, the regular cabin sizes compared to the regular balconies are the same size in terms of the room size. So when you're upgrading to a balcony or purchasing a balcony cabin, the extra room is all balcony. So if you really do want to try to reduce some costs for you or save some costs, you will be just as comfortable without a balcony. They have the great large window views, and there's a lot to do outside on deck, so you don't have to feel claustrophobic or anything. But we've done it both ways, but we certainly enjoyed our experiences when we didn't have a balcony, and it was just as comfortable and fun. So those are the two Disney cruise related tips that
especially like, let's say if you're going to Alaska. I mean, the balcony is great for when you're in certain areas in Alaska, but it can get pretty chilly outside. You only can stay outside, with the wind blowing for certain periods of time, even all bundled up. Sometimes it's nice just to have that window to look out. And it is a big window. Like you said, it's a big, giant porthole window, a lot of these are. And
I actually have a funny story. For the first time, I got a balcony room on the Disney cruise. And I was traveling with my son, and he was a toddler at the time. And I went on the balcony. It was at Castaway Cay, and I just went to check it out and see what it looked like outside. And he locked me out onto the balcony. So that was a scary moment.
Yeah.
So at that moment, I was like, "Oh, why did I get a balcony?"
Yeah.
But no, balconies are great, and I don't want to deter
How did you get
anybody.
back in?
I did finally, get his attention to because he hadn't locked it completely. He just pushed it enough that I couldn't open it, and he was able to unlock it.
Eventually, someone would have come to make up
That's
the room
right.
or whatever.
Oh,
You would have
yeah,
gotten out
yeah.
there eventually.
Right.
Maybe he just wanted to lock you out so he can get his own Mickey bar. Or
I
something.
know, yes.
He's going to get one of those cinnamon pretzel
That's
things.
right.
So, that's funny. But both those are definitely good tips. And yes, the window staterooms and even some of the inside staterooms, especially now that they have the video kind of projector porthole in some of the inside staterooms on the two newer ships, they're all great too. I mean, really, there are great cabins, almost all of them aboard a Disney cruise. So if you want to do it and you're afraid of the money to splurge on a balcony or whatever else may be, those cabins are not bad. And there's a lot of size in there for because they know they're bringing in families.
Right.
So it's a very important thing. Good tip, Michelle. As
Thank you.
always, Michelle always has the best tips.
Oh, you're sweet.
My tip of the week is actually about tips. As in tipping on a Disney cruise. I'm sticking with
very
tipping on a Disney cruise. So just to let you know, if you haven't been on a Disney cruise before, what they do, the standard policy is it's $12 per person per day. They'll take that right out of your shipboard account. So it's $4 that go to the server, $3 that go to the assistant server, $1 that goes to the head server, and $4 that go to your stateroom host or hostess. So that is standard for every day.
Per person per day.
Per person per day, yes. That's not just for, the whole cruise. That's for the whole thing. But, one thing that you need to know about this is that it's just a guideline. You do not have to pay that if you don't want to. Now, you can go in there and you can, at any time during your cruise, you can have them take it down to giving these people less. You can even pick out individuals to do less. Or you can go up and say, look, these guys are all great, or my server is great, or my stateroom hostess is great, and you can boost up theirs. Or you can just pay the normal amount, and at the end, if you like one over the other, you can stuff a little extra cash in there for this person or that. So, you can kind of, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, this is just kind of what they expect and if you want to leave it just as they are, that's fine, but you can adjust them how you want. Another way we found to do with tipping is when they do room service or whatever, that's usually $1 or $2 for room service when they come in. But when we find somebody who does great stuff for us, one of the things that we've done in the past is we've gone to a little store like Trader Joe's or something like that and got up a bunch of snacks. And we brought those. And not only do we give them a cash tip, but we'll also give them some cookies or, some sort of special chocolates or something like that. A lot of these crew members, these cast members, they rarely they never really get a full day off. A day off for them is usually like a half day. And then they're rushing into port and trying to get things done and maybe calling family and whatever else. So they can't always collect a lot of this stuff, and they don't get a lot of the little special treats. So, when you provide them these special treats, it's really nice for them. And, even if it's not something they necessarily like, they may be able to trade with somebody else who has something they like or whatever, and it really opens up some different ways to kind of reimburse and treat these people that are treating you so well on the cruise in a different way.
Right, absolutely. That is a great tip. And, we've had experiences where for some reason or another, we weren't able to go to the dining room quite as much. And we had a lot of room service and started getting to talk to the person who was taking our order and ended up sending some treats back for that person as well. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of ways that you can, as they give us some of the pixie dust and magic and magical moments that you can easily do for them as well. And it's certainly well deserved because they really do go so much out of their way to make sure we're all having a great vacation.
Absolutely. Just a few more guidelines on tipping so you kind of know if it's your first Disney cruise. On your drinks, whenever you're ordering a beverage, there's a 15% automatic gratuity onto that. You can decide if you want to add more to it if the person that serves it to you is going over and above. But just so you know, you don't have to add a tip onto there. It's already on there. Same with spa services, 18% automatically on spa services. If you're going and doing a concierge cabin, you will get they do not give you a set amount to tip a concierge host. You will get an envelope at the end of your sailing. It's completely up to you on what you want to tip them. You can tip them nothing, or you can tip them. Some people tip them hundreds of dollars. It kind of really depends on what kind of service they provided. If they did just some basic things, maybe you just give them a little bit. But if they went over and above, like we did, we were in concierge. We had our vow renewal,
Right.
and our concierge went over and above to make sure our vow renewal ceremony was really special, and so we gave her a little extra because she did such a great job on that. But it's completely up to you on what you want to tip your concierge, but it's just not really anywhere. You can't really find a definite number anywhere online, so
It's all over the map when you go online to look up that
right.
topic.
So just kind of, I always say just tip with your conscience.
Right.
What would you feel comfortable with the service they provided you tipping them?
Right.
So those are just some tipping guidelines.
Very
So,
nice. Very nice. Tip on tips.
Tip on tips.
That was a great idea.
On the Disney cruise, because this was the Disney cruise episode that
Yes.
we've gone, wow, this may be our longest episode. Yeah, it's amazing. I never thought we'd go this long ever on an episode, but of course I never thought we'd get to 20 episodes either.
Right.
So, anyway. Let's quickly wrap this up because we've been going for so long. Thanks for joining us once again. Next week, we've already touched on the holiday season a little bit in our stories and a couple other things, but we know it's not even Halloween yet, but we are going to be doing holidays at the Walt Disney World Resort and Disneyland Resort next week.
Right. And again, if you're listening to this podcast today on Sunday, October 14th, thank you. Tonight on Freeform, they're going to be having Decorating Disney Halloween Magic. We saw last year's episode about the Christmas holiday decorating, so it really is a fun way to watch the behind-the-scenes magic that takes place to convert the parks into the holidays. So this one is on the Halloween.
Yeah, I think they're also replaying it. I think I saw it as on the 16th too. So if you got this a little too late to see it, you didn't get to set it, record, whatever, I think it's also being replayed on the 16th. It might be replayed again too, but I think when I was looking at it, that's on the 16th. So yeah. So that's it. If you want to get in contact with us, I've told you about some different ways we'd love to hear from you. You can follow us on social media, on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook and Instagram at Hyperion Adventures Podcast, on the web, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. You can email us, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com. We love that this is an interactive show, and we'd love to hear from you as much as possible.
Yes, and thanks so much for people who shared a lot for our episode this week. We really appreciated all the great information about Disney Cruise Line and what things you like about Disney Cruise Line. And we hope you all listening today would feel compelled to reach out to us because we do want to give you credit and share some of the great ideas that you have as well.
Absolutely. We love hearing from all our Hyperion adventurers out there. You guys are all fantastic. And you found us today. If you want to find us in the future, we're on the 1057max.com website. Under the Max Plus tab, we're also on the Max FM app. You can find us on SoundCloud. We're on Stitcher. And you can subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play Music. And if you didn't hear the announcement at the beginning of the show, we're now also on Spotify. Just make it that much easier for you to find us. And if you get a chance, please just give us a quick little rating. Just click on the little stars. I don't care. 5 star. I don't care what you put. 5 star. I don't care. 4 star, 3 star, 5 star. 5 star.
Love the subliminal message.
Right.
There,
But whatever you feel is appropriate is fine. And if you even give a little more time, please give us a review. It really, really will help others just like you to find us out there. And we want to grow this Hyperion Adventurer family into even a larger, more wonderful Hyperion Adventure family. So that's it for this week. Thank you for listening once again to the Hyperion Adventures Podcast, the 20th episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. And until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.